This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so happy Friday. Today is Friday, February 28th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So it looks like we're just going to continue to go. And I mean, none of us are going to have any type of problem with that. So let's look at the first thing, CODX. This thing is just continuously getting more and more volume. Now, keep in mind that this morning during the pre-market, obviously it's a little bit less than yesterday, but it's still just pumping over and over again. You can see we just got that little bit of a show of hand that came in at 21. So far this morning, what we're seeing is that it's not taking as many prints as it has. If you look over here at 1950, then we come back to those prints that came in at 21. We're really starting to run on there, but the volume is picking up, and especially as we get closer to the open, we're going to see even more. But one thing just to look at right now is this thing is pushing based off of ask prints. So let's think of where the logical spot for it to hit reality is going to be. Make sure that you have shares to be able to play it the opposite way. And then once that happens, we're going to be looking for a trigger to come right back towards those prints. But as of right now, right this second, the logical spot's going to be somewhere right around that 23. But keep in mind, 2250 is a huge number. So that's even better spot for us to, even though we have that double top that's going to be coming up here, even more of a logical spot for us to look for this thing to kind of take a little bit of a hit, come back, and then start to make its move coming back towards the upside. APT, so this thing is just another one, absolutely incredible. And we just got a little bit of a show of a hand at 40. And we once again have to remember is that the amount of orders that are out there and based off of the pre-market, this actually is a lot, even though it really doesn't look that way. Because if we come back over here and you just look at, the little bit that came at 36, this thing really was able to push off of that. Now, I'm not worried about the selling because you have to understand this big of a move, the size of the positions are going to be absolutely amazing. So of course someone's going to sell at 35. It's 35. Psychological level, I'd sell some at 35. I teach you, we talk about how we'd sell some at 35, but that does not mean that this is over, because if you look at the reaction immediately after as we came back down, buying coming in at that 34 level. So going to be expecting a rather large pullback coming underneath that 40 being a psychological level, very hard to hold, especially on a breakout that pretty much is a measured move that never really came down. And as we know, the more triggers that we get, especially with patterns and measured moves, the more that it continues up on that side, the bigger the drop that we usually see. And it looks like we have a bunch of riders that are coming in to take that move back towards that downside before we would end up making our move back up above that 40. But at the same time, let's find that logical spot as we talked about yesterday for anticipation and look for that trigger to break us back up above. Now, AHP, wrong. Yeah, HPI, excuse me. So HPI yesterday, just another one, just absolutely phenomenal move coming into the end of the market. I mean, this thing just really broke out. And one thing that I do actually have in my notes that I want to talk about before is that be careful of halts. Once you see something really starting to go, I just have this weird feeling that one of these stocks is going to get, is going to get caught making moves on something that they really shouldn't, just based off of news. And when the SEC comes in, things get halted and things end up dying completely. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. When something is showing you that it's about to come into a halt, make sure that you take off a lot of that position and you don't really leave yourself with that much exposure coming into things, because I've seen it myself. And guess what? It's not going to change anything that has to do with my trading, but I've seen it myself where you have the perfect buying to go up to 150 and then something ends up opening back up at 8. So as you see things getting, to a position that are, they're going to be coming into a halt, you have to take off exposure. And that's just, once again, something that we have to anticipate as we're going. All right. But overall, it hasn't given us anything that great, besides 35 had a little bit of buying, and we're pulling back from that. But anything based off the personalities that we've been seeing, I'm looking for those pullbacks coming in, and then I'm looking for those triggers to come back up and really let us break out. I saw in the chat yesterday, have that exit ready, trailing from the start. You have to. I mean, it is what, and like I said yesterday, we did our workshop, and I'm going to keep them to 45 minutes, because what my goal is that sometimes traders exchanges, what happens is that when you have to think of your own questions, people kind of find it as more of a to-do. So that's why with these workshops, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what you need to know. All right. And we talked about that yesterday, and we talked about the anticipation and having those orders ready. And in a situation like this, especially, I still, even though AHP right now is at $32, that's not a cheap stock. It's still acting like a cheap stock. And all of these things that are just breaking out still have those same type of personalities. So make sure that you're ready. Have that exit already put in, because if you try to react to the actual movement towards that downside, and by the time that you react, you're going to miss a few orders. They're going to skip you coming in. And, we're talking about $5 in the blink of an eye. So we have to be ready for it. Anticipation, anticipation, anticipation. But overall, that 35, like I said, we're still holding within this consolidation. Hasn't given a great show of hand yet. You could see all the prints coming in this morning, but 33 to 35, we're already underneath there. So a trigger back up definitely has the buying to get back up towards that 40 level. So another one to be, to be following pretty closely. So next one, ALT. I mean, this is just, I made a joke about it yesterday. It's almost like some of the dreams that I've had. There's just so many of these cheap stocks that are giving us such a great opportunity coming in. So you can see some selling coming in, but immediately after we end up getting that buying, we have some beautiful movement. 385, I like this position right there. 420. I don't. It's not the same as yesterday to the point where we have as much buying coming into these cheaper stocks, but it's still, they're set up in that same exact personality. So especially when we get closer to the open and volume starts really picking up, I mean, these things are just giving us the opportunity to make a killing. And now I don't talk about money. I don't really talk about, too much, but I'm going to tell you, I've never seen this many cheap stocks do the same thing all at once. I'm going to tell you, yesterday was my highest grossing and highest percentage day that I've ever had all together coming in, and it's giving us the same exact personality today. Now, I don't expect it to last into the entire afternoon, because guess what? Things need to take a break, but these are the days that when we, as hard as we work and the work that we put in to get where we want to be, this is where they pay off. So again, with ALT, it didn't really give us anything that great coming into the 5 level. If you look, so I'm not as happy with this one, considering the fact that, it really doesn't have that great buying that's coming up towards the top side of things. But what I do like is I like the building that's happened at the lower points. And remember, there's two types of deals where someone buys a whole bunch and then they end up bringing it back to then push it back up. Or sometimes they hold it in that same type of level and that same type of consolidation. They buy throughout the entire way out. They accumulate through the entire way out, and then they release. And this is kind of what the situation looks like right now in ALT. BIG, so this is at pretty much the bottom of my list, and the reason being is because of the fact it's just not, it's on our side list, it's the beginning of our side list, but it's on kind of the bottom of my side list. But one of the things that I just kind of like is the selling positions that I've seen coming into it. If we look at yesterday, 1680, and we come in, it's nothing that special, but for the most part, I have not seen really anything coming in besides some type of selling. So obviously, taking this big of a hit going into, I'm having, obviously, got to assume earnings. Pulling down this much coming in, it looks like there's a lot more room. Just be careful, 15 level, even though it has that selling usually gives us a nice pull up first to come back up. Then let's look for our logical spot, look for that trigger to come back down and really, get that move. Get that Casio watch. Don't retire. I promise, guys, I'm not going to retire. First of all, if it stays like this, I'll never retire. I'll be here for the rest of my life. All right, so that's not something that we have to worry about. But we also need to, we also need to think about, depending on what your level is. Now, I'm trying to catch every single thing that I possibly can. But even that, I can't do it all. I cannot find every single stock. So one thing that we do still need to think about, just like we did yesterday, we have a very big list, but limit it. Limit it to what your ability is. If you can only trade one stock, you only need 3 stocks to look at to find what that one stock is going to be. Now, if you could trade 2 stocks, and then, God bless you if you could trade them all. All right, but at the same time, don't try to focus on every single thing, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to watch the chat, you're going to see 40 different stocks being called out, and eventually, all the moves are going to happen, and you're going to be like, well, what a great day, but I wasn't part of it. Remember, nobody sends us checks for call outs. That's just, at the end of the day, we need to execute them. So the anticipation and then, limiting what you can possibly do is very important in situations like this. All right, CORV. Another one. This thing is just going absolutely nuts. All right. Now, this should be on our regular list, but the reason I'm putting it on our side list is because this is not going to fit the game plan for every person out there. All right. This is one of those type of stocks that you're going to want to trade a lot of shares of, or, you can trade it regular for 20 cents, but you can't look at a stock like this in 50-cent increments. We have to look at it in 5 cents and 10 cents, and it takes a lot more work going into that. So this is, as much as this is an easier stock to trade on the fact of what the price is, it really makes it kind of harder, because our ultimate goal is taking our entry and getting it as far away as quickly as possible. And this doesn't set up for that for a lot of people's game plans. So that's the only reason it's on my side list. Besides that, I love it. I mean, look at this position that came in at 60. And for as cheap of a stock that it is, it's actually giving some pretty clean prints. I mean, look at this 56. No selling, huge ass prints coming in at 56. No selling, huge ass prints coming in at 60. So it is absolutely perfect, but if it doesn't fit your game plan, it doesn't matter. We can't trade it all, guys. There's going to be tons of stocks this morning that are going to move. I'm going to miss them, but I'm going to make sure that based off of what my game plan has to be for this morning, I'm going to maximize my opportunity on the ones that I can follow all at once. And you have to do the same thing. Okay, watching 9 stocks at a time today isn't going to be necessary. Pick if you're only trading one stock, pick those 3 and go from there. You can always switch back, but it's got to fit your game plan. And right here, that's the only reason CORV is on our side list. It's just been absolutely beautiful. But remember, there's other things that are going to help get our mission statement done and get as far away as quickly as possible. Next thing, AIM. So I really liked this yesterday. I put it on my side list, even though it wasn't doing anything. And of course, just like every other cheap stock in the world right now, they're coming up with some type of cure for the coronavirus, and they're skyrocketing. But what I do like about this is, as we came up to that 250 level, okay, so 230, it showed a lot more to be able to break above. And once again, this selling at 250, it looks like a lot, but the amount of positions that have been being built, it's not really that much. So it's on the side list because it didn't really give us anything great at 250, but it still has the buying to be able to break up above. So I have to put it on my side list, and I have to pay attention to it. And other than that, I don't really know how many other things that we can pay attention to. Uber's still continuing to fall. Our everyday type market stocks are getting hit. But I'm going to tell you something. Not once yesterday did I trade and or look at any type of market stock, because there was no reason whatsoever for it. We have to take advantage of the situations that we're put in, because guess what? Every day is not going to be like this. All right. Eventually, this thing's going to blow over. And you know what? Maybe I'm wrong, but through history, history tends to repeat itself, and we've seen, a bunch of this type of stuff coming out that really got, for news purposes, it was made a lot bigger of a deal of than it really was. And I'm not saying that's what this is, because I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but we have to take advantage of what we have out there. And what happens is that when we have these type of situations that come in, as terrible as they are, they give us these opportunities. But if we try to watch every single thing happening, that's all that ends up happening, is we watch. And guess what? Once again, no one sends you any type of check for a call out. So let's make sure that we're anticipating. Make sure you have your orders out there. Make sure you're following the volume patterns that we just went over yesterday in our workshop. And make sure, number one, you're anticipating these moves. All right, Doug said something yesterday, and we've talked about it so many times in classes before, but it really is so important. Pay a little bit more for more confirmation and to not miss it. Okay, there's nothing worse than trying to hit something and missing a trade over 5 cents. So put your orders a little bit higher, because when these triggers come in, guys, and with the volume that we see coming in, it's going to move a lot. So trying to put your order 3 cents up above where it's, where it's going to trigger from, probably not going to end up getting filled. And once again, there's nothing worse than missing some type of trade over, over 5-10 cents when something's going to move that much. TradeStation says AHP insufficient data. Anyone else having that problem? Not on this side. Let me see. Yes, well, AHP, it's AHPI. Yeah, that's my fault based off of it. AHPI is what we're coming up, and of course it's breaking up above that 40. Another thing, guys, is that a lot of this stuff is trading so great during the pre-market, is trading just like a regular stock. Don't be afraid to take advantage of it. Now, make sure that it's actually in your, it's within your game plan, it's within your level, but there's a lot that's going on. That's why I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible. I know it's going long because we have so many stocks. Now, anything else out there that I missed? And even if I did, we have enough of a list that I don't really care, but yeah, let's get ready, guys. Let's go right at it. So happy Friday. Remember, no afternoon meeting. I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.